Hello everyone, welcome back to the Anatomy Lab. Today we're going to be taking a look at the digestive system, specifically the alimentary canal or the GI tract, otherwise known as the gastrointestinal tract. And where we're going to start is in the oral cavity located right here. The oral cavity is going to have a couple of structures that you should know, which is going to include your teeth, which we'll look at later, but also your tongue, a large muscle that you're probably very familiar with. From the oral cavity, it is going to lead inferiorly as well as posteriorly into the pharynx, and for the digestive system, it is going to be located from about here down to about here. And the pharynx is going to lead to a large or long muscular tube called the esophagus, which is going to go from your neck down to your abdominal cavity through your thoracic cage. So all the way from up here down to here in order for it to lead to your stomach over here. And your stomach is in the upper left portion of your abdominal cavity. And what we're going to do now is take a look at a few structures as well as regions of the stomach. So first of all, notice that you have these little ridges or wrinkles. These are called rugae. Rugae can allow the stomach to distend or expand so that it could get a little bit bigger, but the ridges themselves are the rugae. Now regarding the stomach regions, above this hole right here, this is called the fundus of the stomach. Below the hole, or below the fundus, until it starts to taper off, this is called the body of the stomach, so about from here to here. And then from here until the end of the stomach, that's called the pylorus. Now the stomach also has two openings that you should be aware of as well. The first of which is between the esophagus and the stomach. This right here is called the gastroesophageal sphincter. It is going to allow food to go from the esophagus into the stomach. And then after the stomach has digested food a bit, it will be able to leave the stomach through another opening, which is located here, called the pyloric sphincter. So regarding these two sphincters, gastroesophageal is referring to what is between gastro for the stomach and esophageal for the esophagus. Pyloric sphincter is regarding the pylorus of the stomach over here. So after the food or the chyme leaves the stomach through the pyloric sphincter, it is going to lead into the small intestine. Now the small intestine is going to be from the end of the stomach all throughout this long convoluted tube, which is throughout a lot of your abdominal cavity. But the small intestine is going to have three parts that you should be aware of. The first of which is a short region called the duodenum. The duodenum is going to be located from the end of the stomach and then curve into a little C-shaped form until it starts to turn into another tube, or turn into another tube here. Only this C-shaped portion is the duodenum. After it starts to go into the peritoneal region, this is going to be called the jejunum. So starting from about here after the curve until some indistinct region over here, that is the jejunum. So you could see where the jejunum starts, but you can't very clearly see where the jejunum ends. But make sure that you can at least locate the region of where the jejunum should be. The last part after the jejunum is called the ileum, and once again, generally, it is going to be located around here. But you can't see where the ileum starts, but you can definitely see where the ileum ends. So this is where the small intestine ends, which is where the ileum ends as well, as it leads into the large intestine. A structure between the ileum and the large intestine is called the ileocecal valve, named for the ileum, which is the last part of the small intestine, and then also the cecum, the first part of the large intestine. So ileum, cecum, and between them, ileocecal valve. Now the large intestine is not going to be as long as the small intestine, but it is going to have a much wider diameter, so it is called the large intestine. It is going to start at the cecum here, where it will go up from the bottom right portion of your abdominal cavity through the ascending colon. From the ascending colon, it will go from the right side to the left side of the body through the transverse colon, down from the upper left to the bottom left through the descending colon, and then it will curve towards the midline until it reaches around the middle of the body in your pelvic region through the sigmoid colon. The sigmoid colon will then lead to the last part of your digestive tract, which is called the rectum. The rectum is this straight region right here. It is going to be a temporary storage space for fecal matter, and it will hold fecal matter until you can effectively dispose of it through the anal canal. And so the anal canal is going to be this opening or space in the middle, in the middle or surrounded by the internal anal sphincters and the external anal sphincters. And that's what's going to conclude the alimentary canal of the GI tract. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again soon.